So it turns out Amazon's contactless stores were actually powered by thousands of Indian workers. Who else had that on their 2024 bingo card? When Amazon Go was launched in 2018, they were presented as a cashless shop that ran on AI. But today we learned that AI was actually powered by low-paid staff on the other side of the world doing all the checks and balances. You see, it turns out at Amazon, AI stands for actually Indians doing the work. This is known as ghost work. In short, ghost work is where something is being presented as an automated process, but in reality there is a person hidden away doing that job. Why would they do that? Well, me in a hat. Silicon Valley love to keep up appearances more than Hyacinth Bucket, and a big part of that is public perception. Not only is it nicer for us, the great unwashed, to pretend that a machine is doing the work rather than an underpaid person on the other side of the world, it also makes us feel like we're living in the future. Oh, and investors love this shit, because if the technology is cutting down the number of jobs, it tends to cut down on the costs, which increase the profits, which is the reason they invested in the first place. And even if it doesn't cut down on the number of people working for that company, it usually cuts down on the cost, because you have a massive pool of people willing to work for pennies per hour in countries where, shall we say, labour laws are a bit more flexible. The term was coined by Mary L. Gray, who is a senior principal researcher at Microsoft, a facility associate at Harvard University. So she knows her shit. She always cut away when you're reading something directly from the internet. Oh, fuck off. When she started working at Microsoft, she learned that building AI requires people to manage and clean up the data that is going to train the algorithms. Which makes sense. Only an idiot would pull data from the internet without cleaning it up first. Oh wait. So she asked around, and some people didn't know who the cleaners were, and other people said they were too scared to look into it in case they unlocked nightmare fuel working conditions. Because as we all know, ignorance is bliss. And if you didn't know that, it must be your first time here. So hit the subscribe button, motherfucker! This led to her groundbreaking book, which was helpfully called Ghost Work. So it's just Amazon and Microsoft doing that? Oh, you're serious? No. Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Meta all use ghost workers. And don't just take my word for it. Here's an article titled, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Meta all use ghost workers. But fun fact, Jeff's little bookshop set up a website to bridge the gap between people needing cheap labour for their AI and humans willing to do that cheap labour. And it's called Amazon Machine Turk, named after the Turk, an 18th century chess-playing automaton that toured Europe. Although later on it was revealed to not be an automaton, but a human chess master hidden in the cabinet beneath the board, controlling the movements of the humanoid dummy, which is either the perfect name or way too on the nose, depending on what side of the monopoly you fall down on. Think of this website like Fiverr, only in a parallel universe it would be called Pennies. Google had a version called Google Answers, but true to form they killed that off, and Russia loved the idea so much they made their own version called Toloka, but little is known about how well it treats their employees, so let's just assume their Glassdoor reviews would be top tier. How much do ghost workers get paid? Ghost workers are paid per task, so it's actually quite hard to give you a specific average amount, but in 2013 it was revealed that for most tasks Amazon pays only a few cents, and sometimes they're paid via an Amazon gift card. So it's very much modern day slavery. And it reminds me of when houses were designed with corridors and layouts so the rich never had to see their help, which to be fair was good times for all, and I can't see a problem with it coming back. What kind of jobs does a ghost worker do? Well, me in another hat, they can do a wide range of jobs, but all of them have a few things in common. They're boring, repetitive, lack any benefits, job security, or rights, and above all, are incredibly stressful. Google uses them for content moderation, or what some people call censorship if they don't know what content moderation is. Meta uses them to take down the worst kind of uploads imaginable, from unaliving videos to clips of the Joe Rogan podcast, and they pay $1.50 for 9 hours work. They can also be filling out surveys, captioning videos, translating documents, verifying locations, beta testing, or powering parts of ChatGPT. Surely this is just a stopgap, you know? Like people will do it for a bit and then AI will take over. Red herring me without a hat because I've run out. That's what Silicon Valley wants you to believe. In reality, some ghost work can eventually be done by AI, but more often than not, AI is not coming for your job. A low-paid, sometimes highly skilled person in another country far, far away is. Because shockingly, it turns out there's always going to be somebody with no workers' rights that will do your job faster and for less money. You see, AI will replace some work, but it always creates other jobs that are deeply dependent on people. However, it's rarely full-time employment. It's task-based employment. It's not a career, it's you sorting out one task after another. So what's the worst part about being a ghost worker? Jesus, you're fun at parties. Can we keep the end of the video light? I mean, it's a tough question, but for my money, I think it's a three-way tie between the algorithmic cruelty that ghost workers have to put up with. After all, their manager is a line of code. Code doesn't always register that you've tried and failed and need assistance. It just looks at the world in a binary way. Did you get the task done? Yes or no? Now, I've had some bad managers in my time, but this does not pass the sniff test for me. Secondly, the payment site and the jobs board are often owned by the same company. This sounds great, but if the website can't verify who you are from the other side of the planet, you can get locked out of your account and lose access to not only future employment, but also the money that's been built up from the work you've already done. And if you try and dispute this issue, the people who'll be trying to verify who you are other ghost workers who are under time pressure to do as many tasks as possible, as quickly as possible, and so don't give a shit about you. And third, and finally, and probably most importantly, it wastes people's time. You have to constantly be checking jobs boards, and you don't get paid for any of that work. This means you're devaluing people's most precious resource for the sake of appearing like an instant answering machine. So it turns out, when you want to build an AI tool, who are you going to call? Ghost workers! Godspeed.